Okay, next topic in our EM subject of fourth module is of successive approximation type DVM. Why we need of this successive approximation? When a digital voltmeter we are going to use, sometimes we are going to be the values what it is going to be reading, the precision or the accuracy of the reading, it may be varying from in terms of 0.1% of error it may occur based on what is the approximation values it's going for. If it is of 6 volts, if we want to measure, there may be a chance of getting of 5.9. Like that, approximate values we can find out by using of this successive approximation type DVM. Okay, the basic principle of the measurement by this method is similar to the determination of weight of an object in markets. If you have visited how vegetables are going to be weighing, if you want to buy a 1 kilo of your carrots, what the person will be doing, he will be putting 1 kg of a some measuring instrument, measuring parameter he will be keeping one side, and the carrots he will be putting on. He will be checking whether it is balanced. If it is balanced, then he will be giving to you. If it is not balanced, means it may be the carrots what he going to put, it may be, if it is of less amount means, then again he will be adding of that. If it is more means he will be removing of the carrot, so that the balance between the kg of the carrot and the 1 kg of the weight, it both should be in a balanced. The approximation theory what we are going for, the same thing here also we will be going for. Then the object is placed on one side of the balance. Object is going to be placed in the one side of the balance, and the approximate weight is placed on the other side. If weight placed is more, the weight is removed. Yes, carrots is going to be removed, or else if and smaller weight is placed. If the weight is smaller, then the object another small weight is going to be added, right, to the weight. If now the total weight is higher than the object and the added weight is removed and smaller weight is added, depends whether it is what is the weight of the carrots. Its weight, if it is heavy than the measuring of the 1 kg means he will be removing. If it is of less means he will be adding. The same process here also. Thus, by successive procedure of adding and removing, the weight of the object is determined. The successive approximation type DVM works exactly same as the principle, what it is explained in a real time what we are going for. Then, in successive approximation type DVM, the comparator compares the, observe here, we are going to use the comparator. The comparator compares the output of the digital to analog converter with the unknown voltage. With the unknown voltage, which one we don't know that, right? For that unknown voltage, we will be supplying the different input voltages, where if it is of equal to that or greater than that, like that it's going for. The comparator compares the output voltage, output of the digital to analog converter with the unknown voltage. Accordingly, the comparator provides logic high or else logic low signals. The digital to analog converter successively generates the set pattern of the signal, set patterns of the signals. The procedure continues till the output of the digital to analog converter becomes equal to the unknown voltage. It's nothing but when you're going to convert from digital to analog signal, what it's going for, digital to analog means where the samples are going to be converted to the sine function or cos function. Okay, based on that, what's the input you are going to provide, what is the output it's going for, that should be in equal fashion. The unknown voltage, the procedure continues till output of the digital to analog converter, digital to analog converter becomes equal to the unknown voltage. Means zeros and ones are going to be converted to the 5 volts or else depends. 5 volts are any values if you are going for. That is going to be done by using of this. Then in this, the block diagram here it is given as input unknown voltage you will be giving, that is as a input V in. Two switches are used with the two connections 1 and 2, and switch S1 is used. Comparator C1 is going to be used, and capacitor C1 is used, and comparator is there which gives the signal high and low. A clock is connected for the switch and also to the logic control sequencer. Then a digital to analog converter is connected, and a reference is connected, and a display is there. The capacitor is connected at the input of the comparator. The construction what is there in the block diagram, same thing here it is given as a theory. The output of the digital to analog converter is compared. The output of the digital to analog converter is compared with the unknown voltage by the comparator. The output of the comparator is given to the logic control and sequencer. This unit generates the sequence of code, logic control and sequencer. This logic control and sequencer, it is giving. This unit generates the sequence of codes which is applied to the digital to analog converter, which giving the output of this to the digital to analog converter. The position 2 of the switch S1 receives the output from the digital to analog converter. The unknown voltage is available at the position 1, unknown voltage at 1, and digital output at 2. Available at the position 1 of the switch S1. The logic control also drives the clock logic control, this logic control, that clock. Logic control also drives the clock which is used to alternate the switch S1. The changing of the switch, it can be done by using of the class. Alternate the switch S1 between the position 1 and 2, between the position 1 and 2 as per the requirement. Then we here one example is going to be taken here. Consider the voltage to be measured is of 3.7924, which is unknown parameter for us. The set pattern of digital to analog converter, the set patterns we are going to fix here. Here it is taken as 8421, 8421. At the start, the converter generates 8 volt and switch is at the position 8. Means the switch is at position 2nd, and digital to analog converter, it is giving the value as 8 volts. The clock is used to change the switch position. So during next time interval, the switch position is at 1. Instead of 2, it's going to change to position 1. It will be coming here. After reading 8 volts, due to the using of the clock, the switch position is going to change from 2 to 1. Position 1, and unknown input is applied to the capacitor. As capacitor is charged to the 8 volts, which is more than the input voltage. What is the input voltage we are going to give? That is of 3.7924, right? Here it is of 8 volts at position 2. Yes, from this I am telling. Then at unknown input voltage is of 3.7924, right? Then the comparator sends high signal. Why high signal? What's the digital to analog converter is higher value than the unknown voltage. For that reason, a high signal is going to be signal to the logic control and sequencer circuit. This high signal is given for the logic control and sequencer. Then this high signal resets the digital to analog converter. This is going to be resetting the value. It's not 8. We will go for the next value. What is after 8 is of 4. Instead of going for 8, it's going to check with the 4. From the digital to analog converter, it is giving the value as 4. Instead of 8, it is going to resetting the value for 4. That's what here. High signal which generates its next step to the 4 volts. This again generates the high signal. Why it is high? 3.7 is less than 4 or else 4 is greater than 3.7. For that reason, comparator will send the signal high. This again resets the converter to generates the next step. The voltage is of 2 instead of 4. Again it is going to be taken as, this is not value, again going for checking with the 2. 4 is finished and next is of 2. Now 2 voltage is less than the input voltage. Yes, then comparator generates the low signal. Now our 3.7 is higher than 2, then our low signal is going to be generating and giving to the logic controller and sequencer. During the generation of low signal, the generated signal by the converter is retained, because 2 voltage is not going to be equal to 3.7924, right? For that reason, again that 2 value is going to be holding. Okay, thus 2 voltage step gets stored in the converter. Means here in the converter it will be holding the value. Then in addition to this, the next step of 1 voltage is generated, means going for the next value. Thus the total voltage level becomes, stored is already is of 2 plus 1, it is going to be 3 volts. This is again less than the input and generates the low signal. Again means 3 voltage is going to be hold off. Due to low signal, this gets stored. Then after this, we are going for the next step, that is 0.8 volts. Step is generated for the second digital approximation. Thus, the process of successive approximation is continuous till the converter generates 3.7924 volts. This voltage is then displayed on the digital display till we will get the exact value, that is 3.7924. Then after that only the display is going to be done. Next, at each low signal, there is a incremental change. Means when it is a low signal, increment is going to be changing in the output of the digital to analog converter. This output voltage approaches the value of the unknown voltage. A comparison is going to be occurring, the value what you are getting at the digital to analog converter to the what is the unknown voltage is going for. We are based on the reference what it's going to be. Based on the comparison between the unknown voltage to the digital to analog converter output, is that equal? We will check. When it is both are equal, then you will be getting the output. Till it becomes equal, the successive approximation values, it's going on checking, storing. If it is equal, then we proceed. If it is not equal, less than or equal, some approximation theory is going to be applying here. Okay. Then the limit to how close this output can be approached to the unknown voltage depends on the level of what approximate value I can get. It depends on the level of noise at the input of the comparator. What the noise level? If noise is more, you'll not get accurate value. If noise is less, somewhat we can expect the exact value to the what the unknown voltage. Okay, level of the noise at the input of the comparator and the stability of the input switch, and also about the stability of the input switch. To reduce the noise, filters are going to be used. Filters may be used, but it reduces the speed of the measurements. If I go with the filters using, but the speed of the conversion is going to be reduced. These limiting factors usually determine the number of digits of the resolution of an instrument. The general range of the digit is going to be taken as 3.3 to 5. Okay, then the speed depends upon the types of switch used in the types of switches used in the digital to analog converter and comparator circuitry. If solid state switches, if I go to prefer a solid state switches are used, the high speed can be obtained. Why switching is very important means it has to switch from digital to analog to the unknown value. How fast it's going to be, that much fast we can get the output. For that reason, switching operation is very important in this. For electromechanical switches, the speed is few readings per second. So we'll prefer for solid state switches only. The accuracy depends on the internal reference supply associated with the digital to analog converter and the accuracy of the converter itself. Then what are the advantages? If I go with the successive approximation theory, the first one is very high speed of the order of 100 readings per second. It is possible. The method of analog to digital converter is inexpensive. The resolution up to 5 significant digits, it is possible from our approximation theory. Then accuracy is somewhat high. Okay. Then about disadvantages, a circuit is somewhat complex. It's they are telling it's a complex, and digital to analog conversion is also required because we are using of that also in this digital to analog converter. Then the input impedance is variable, and the last one is the noise can cause error due to incorrect decisions made by the comparator. The noise is going to be introducing in the system when a comparator, if a comparator gives exact value, then it will be okay. If I go with the just as a designing part, when I am going to choose the value of if I am going to 8421, yes, I can compare and I can get the output. But when I go for rather than 3.7924, up to 3 it's okay. Somewhat 3.7 means I can nearly go with the 8. But the comparison result, if I go with the 3.7924, how much the fractional values we have to measure, how it's going to be taking the values to the digital to analog converter, how much we have to add there. That's what the precision what's going to be, it will be somewhat difficult. Okay, that's what the reason here it is taken as a disadvantage of that. Noise is maybe introducing in the comparator reason. Okay, these are all the disadvantages and advantages of the successive approximation theory. After this, the one more the digital to volt DVM is of dual slope integrating type DVM. This is the most popular method of analog to digital converter conversions. It's going to be happening. In the ramp type, what we had learned, the same method it's going to following, but small changes there. What is that? We'll go for that. In the ramp techniques, the noise can cause large errors. Yes, it's going to be causing a large error. But in dual slope method, the noise is averaged out. What is in the positive way it's going for, and also in the negative way it's coming. When plus minus is going to be cancelling of the noise by itself. That's what the method they are following in the dual slope integration type. averaged out by the positive or negative ramps using the process of integration method. The basic principle of this method, what is the basic principle we are going to follow, is that the input signal is integrated for a fixed interval of time. The basic principle is for the input signal is going to be integrated for a fixed interval of time, and then the same integrator is used to integrate the reference voltage with the reverse slope. Input, it's a fixed interval of time, we are going to integrate, and the output also we are going to integrate the reference voltage. That's what in the reverse case. Hence, the name it's going to given as dual slope integration at the positive also, at the input, and also at the reference voltage also, in the reverse fashion also. The block diagram is consisting of here switches. The block diagram of dual slope integration type DVM is shown in figure. It consists of 5 blocks. An op-amp is used. This is op-amp is used. Here negative and positive. Positive is given for the ground and negative it's connected. Then a switch S1 and is used with position as 1 and 2. Here at 2 it's given as a minus V reference. For the op-amp, capacitor and this is a switch S2 is connected. A comparator, 0 comparator is connected. Then voltage. A flip-flop is connected. For the flip-flop, 5-decade counter is connected. Then a readout circuit. Then a control logic is connected with a switch according to the switches S1 and S2. A reset is connected. And clock is connected. And AND gate is used. Okay. Then it's consisting of an op-amp used as an integrator and a 0 comparator, a clock pulse generator, this clock pulse generator, and a set of decimal counter. This is decimal counter and a block of control logic. This control logic is connected. When the switch S1 is in position 1, when it is 1, the capacitor C, here C, this capacitor starts charging from 0 level to the input position, input voltage what we are going to apply. Up to that value it's going to be charging. The rate of charging is proportional to the input level. The output of the op-amp is given by the output what you will be getting here. It is taken as V out is equals to minus 1 divided by R1 into C integration 0 to T1 with the input of V in into dt. Therefore, after integration, you will be getting as V out is equals to minus V in T1 divided by R1 into C. You can do of integration, simple integration. Okay, where T1 is the time for which the capacitor is going to be charged, and V in is the input voltage, and R1 is the series resistance. C is the capacitor in feedback path. After the interval T1, the input voltage is disconnected. After time interval T1, the input voltage is going to be disconnected. Instead of here, it is going to connected across switch position 2. Negative voltage minus V reference disconnected, and a negative voltage minus V reference is going to be connected by throwing the switch S1 in the position 2. In this position, the output of the op-amp is given by, at the switch at position 1, it is going to change at the position 2 with the minus V reference. At that, what you will be getting the voltage? V out is equals to 1 divided by R1 into C, integration 0 to T2. For time period, we are going to check with the T2 for that reason. Then minus V reference into dt. Then V out is equals to minus V reference into T2 divided by R1 into C. Then subtracting the equations, then I will be getting as V out minus V out is going to be 0. That is equals to minus V reference T2 divided by R1 into C minus of minus V in T1 divided by R1 into C. V reference into T2 divided by R1 into C is equal to V in T1 divided by R1 into C. Then these two get cancels. Then I left with V reference into T2 is equal to V in T1. Therefore, from this, if I want for V in voltage, that is equal to V reference into T2 divided by T1. Thus, the input voltage is dependent on the time periods T1 and T2 and not on the values of the R1 and C. The basic principle method, here the figure it is shown. In the time period T1, our capacitor is charging. When it is connected to a second switch, it's going on discharging of the capacitor. What the time period it's going to be taking, that we have to note down. For T1, here it is taken different slopes, okay. Like this, a basic principle of a dual slope integration type DVM is going to working, where the slope is across time to voltage, okay. Then at the start of the measurement, the counter is resetted to 0. Initial value will be 0. It's resetted. We are giving a reset signal for that. It will give whatever the value it will be in the previous way, it is coming to 0 only. The output of the flip-flop is also 0. This is given to the control logic. This is given to the control logic. Flip-flop counters. After this, a signal it is given to the control logic. This control sends the signal so as to close the electronic switch to the position 1. When at the initial stage of a flip-flop 0 and counter is 0, means the switch position it's going to change for the first position, okay. And integration of the input voltage starts. It continues till time period T1, till time period T1. As the output of the integrator changes from its 0 value, the 0 comparator output changes its states. 0 comparator value, it's going to change its state now. This provides a signal to the control logic, which in turn opens the gate and counting the clock pulses starts. It's giving the signal 0 comparator. It's if it is 1 means our gate is open, means how many pulses are going to be generated within a time period. It's going to be given for the control logic. From the control logic, it's given for the decade counter. It will start counting and output is going to be displaying that. A small example here given. The counter counts the pulses and when it reaches the all 4 nines, it generates a carry pulse and all digits go to 0. The flip-flop output gets activated to the logic level 1. This activates the control logic. This activates the control logic. This sends the signal which changes a switch S1 position from 1 to 2. Thus, minus V reference gets connected to the op-amp. As V reference polarity is opposite, the capacitor starts discharging. The integrator output will have a constant negative slope as shown in the figure. Once it's the discharging part, this constant slope only it's going to be. The output decreases linearly after the interval T2 attains to 0 value when capacitor C gets fully discharged. At this instant, the output of 0 comparator changes its state. This in turn sends the signals to the control logic and gate gets closed. After T2, it's going to getting closed. Thus, the gate remains open for the period T1 plus T2. The counting operation stops at this instant. The pulses counted by the counter thus have a direct relation with the input voltage. The counts are then transferred to the readout. Therefore, you'll be taking as the equation what we got this taking as same here. Vn is equal to V reference T2 divided by T1. Let time period of clock oscillator be capital T, and digital counter has the counted the counts N1 and N2 during time period T1 and T2. Then Vin is going to be taken as V reference N2 into capital T divided by N1 into T. This is nothing but TT get cancels, V reference N2 by N1. Thus, unknown voltage measurement is not dependent on the clock frequency. It's not depending on the clock frequency, but dependent on the counts measured by the counter. From this equation, we can find out. What are the advantage if I use of this? Excellent noise reduction is possible as noise and superimposed AC are averaged out during the process of integration. The RC time constant does not affect the input voltage measurement. And third one is the capacitor is connected via electronic switch. The capacitor is an auto zero capacitor and avoids the effects of offset voltage. The fourth one is of the integrator responds to the average value of the input. Hence, sample and hold circuit is not necessary in this case. The accuracy is high and can be readily varied according to the specific requirement. The only disadvantage of this is its a speed. The speed what we are going to expect from this is somewhat slow compared to the other devices.